known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
Hey guys, Carmine Bianco, WagerTalk.com. This is Stoppage Time. This is the second to last show. I know last week I said it was the last show, but it is not. It is the last domestic league show, but we're going to come back next week with a special Champions League edition. The final goes next Saturday, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, and we are going to break down a bunch of the total, some different prop bets. We're going to try and break down the game as much as possible in a round table scenario between the four of us. And speaking of the four, let's bring them in. Kevin Dolan of WagerTalk.com, Nick Borrman, and Pavlos Laguretos. Guys, how you doing, Kev? Let me go to you first, man. This is a footy show, but man, I'm still reeling by that Canelo prediction of yours. Any other boxing coming up, or what's going on?
It's a great time of the year for boxing, Carmine. There's, it's been back to back to back. Came off another winner at the weekend as well, and yeah, we're going to cover Benavidez versus Lemieux on Thursday, so that'll be out either Thursday evening or Friday. But yeah, great time of the year for boxing, and pretty good in soccer right now too. We did lose our 5% on Saturday with Saint-Etienne over in French League One, which was disappointing. I expected a lot more of them with that, but I can't really complain. We're on a 33-18 run in soccer over May so far, so I can gripe a bit, but I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. And we're 13-2 in MLS releases as well, going back to the end of last season. So we have a 5% MLS showstopper playoff for this Wednesday. Undefeated on 5% MLS releases, never lost one, so don't want to break that streak heading into this week. And all good with me right now in terms of boxing and soccer and every other sport. And looking forward to breaking down a few of these games in today's show as well.
Awesome. Yeah, this is going to, and keep that run going, but this is going to be a very big week. There's still a lot to be decided. Obviously, some relegation battles in the Premier League with three teams trying to avoid that 18th spot. And then you have some top four. We've got the Tottenham and Arsenal. We'll discuss that on the show. And then a few things in the other leagues. Obviously, the title race in Serie A between the two teams from Milan is still ongoing as well, too. So a very busy weekend of football in Europe, and it's going to be a good one. Nick Borrman, what is going on?
Coming off a nice 5% winner yesterday, needed a Lazio late goal to cash that as I took them plus a quarter of a goal. I feel like those are always go against me, or they have at least lately. So it's nice to catch that late goal winner yesterday. Weekend was decent. Saturday was a little bit slight down day, rebounded with a nice day on Sunday. And then, of course, yesterday, like I said, that 5% play. So hopefully we're picking things up for this week. MLS action Wednesday. Golf. Second major of the year, PGA Championship this week, Kevin, just for you. Won the outright winner on the first one in the Masters, so hopefully we can get another one here this week. We'll be on Wager Talk today on Wednesday to talk a little bit about that as well. So looking forward to all that, and sad that the soccer season is coming to a close here, but looking forward to spending the summer breaking down a lot of MLS action. And maybe I'll jump on with Kevin for a boxing show. Kev, what do you think?
Definitely, Nick. You got to come on. Let's do it on Thursday.
I think that's an excellent idea. I've got his undivided attention today. Let's bring him in. Pavlos, how are you, my friend?
Doing great, guys. I had a really weird week, but bet's been going great. Won a couple of 5-unit bets on Friday, and over the weekend it was really, really a great weekend. Now onwards to this week, there's a lot of action going on. We got the Europa League final, we got MLS, we got some final match days, we got Copa Libertadores. There is a lot of action. I'm now going to Norwegian leagues and Danish leagues. These are really great. I had a nice winner, 4-unit bet, easy winner yesterday. So we're going to be looking at those as well during the summer. But I'm really excited to talk about this midweek fixtures and also the Europa League final. I do have a couple of plays up at my page. I have a 3-pack for the Libertadores tonight. I have an MLS best bet up for tomorrow. So there's still a lot of action going on, and I'm super excited to talk some soccer with you guys.
Awesome. And that is what we're going to do. These are the 4 games we are going to cover on today's show. The first 3 are obviously going to be EPL games. We're going to do the Southampton-Liverpool game, followed by Aston Villa and Burnley. Why Aston Villa and Burnley? Because that has some relegation implications to it. And then, of course, Everton and Crystal Palace, a little bit similar situation there. And then we're going to talk tomorrow's Europa League final, Eintracht Frankfurt and Rangers, Kevin's favorite team. But let's go right to the top. This game goes today. Let's have a look at the odds on this one. Southampton and Liverpool. Southampton plus 650. A big dog at home. The draw's plus 400. Liverpool's minus 250. I'm going to look at this game first, and then I'm going to throw it over to Kev. Liverpool were given a lifeline on the weekend. Man City could only manage a 2-2 draw at West Ham, trailing 2-0 at halftime, getting a couple of goals in the second half, and getting a very important point that puts them 4 points up right now with 1 game left on the weekend at home against Steven Gerrard, former Liverpooler, and Aston Villa coming to the Etihad. But it's on Liverpool here. They've got to win here out at Southampton to put a bit of pressure on Man City heading into those final games on the weekend. The big news is no Mo Salah today, no Virgil van Dijk, both limped off with some injuries in that game last time out in the FA Cup final. You look at this. This is a tough one. I'm expecting the goal differential doesn't come into this. I don't think at this point anymore. I think it's just the Liverpool needing to get the 3 points, needing to put a win. But by the same token, St. Mary's Stadium hasn't been an easy venue for them. Their last 6 visits here, they have gone 3-2-1, but still unimpressive. I think they get the 3 points, Kev. The thing I'm looking at here is how this team has played, and I'm talking about Liverpool here, against bottom 10 teams in the PL this season. An ultra impressive 19 games, 18 wins, 1 draw. The only draw coming against Brentford, a 3-3 away draw, and that was back in September. I have to believe off that cup win on the weekend and wanting to put some pressure on City in advance of the final weekend that they get the win here. The only problem is I feel that Southampton are going to get theirs. They're still playing extremely well. I see goals from both sides, and ultimately it leads me to that over 2.5 goals both teams score minus 105. I'm just looking at it this way. I just don't see anywhere else around it. I don't want to lay the goal handicap with this Liverpool team on the road on a short week. Those are my thoughts, Kev. What do you think?
No, I agree, Carmine. And it's funny because we talked about, Liverpool last week against Aston Villa, in regards to the title race and so on. And my own thoughts on that were, look, from this point of the season on, Liverpool have to be pragmatic. They've got a ton of plates spinning right now. Klopp was there trying to keep all the plates up and keep all his eggs in the basket. But, I don't think I did the best job, let's say, of articulating that because, as soon as I finished, Nick was straight on me. Of course, Klopp's not going to give up on the season. What's Kevin talking about? He's talking nonsense. There's going to be a ton of goals and so on. But, look, obviously if the chance of scoring loads of goals presents itself in any game for Liverpool from this point on, they're going to take them. But, it's just what are Liverpool now willing to do in order to do that? And when you brought up the goal difference, I completely agree. I think it's gone. I think he's just focusing on winning now. And, Klopp's kind of showing his hand here as well. He's not risking Salah. He's not risking Van Dijk. And they're 2 massive losses tonight for Liverpool. So, it's just Liverpool, middle of an absolutely packed schedule. They've just come off winning that FA Cup at the weekend against Chelsea. The game, goes deep in the extra time, obviously penalties. This is a really, really short turnaround for them here, obviously. against a pretty solid Southampton side. Tonight they've got Wolves at the weekend as well, another solid side. And then they head over to Paris for that Champions League final next week against Madrid. So, while Liverpool's now back in with a shot at the title, with Manchester City obviously slipping up at the weekend against West Ham, Klopp's smart. Liverpool do need to win this game, but, he's not risking his best players in this one on the off chance he can somehow catch City on goal difference. If he did risk players, some players got injured, he looked like a fool next week if he has any more absences ahead of the Madrid game. So I like Southampton in this one tonight, catching plus 1.5 on the handicap. In fairness, I absolutely loved it at the weekend. Was actually thinking of releasing as a 5% play if City had beaten West Ham, because I think it would have sucked even more life out of the title race at this point. But even as it is, I still like Southampton in this one. Catching a full goal and a half. Saints have had 10 days to prepare for this game. They're well rested. They haven't played since May 7th. It's their final home game of the season, so you would expect St Mary's to be rocking. And I'm a big Ralph Hasenhüttl fan as it is. I think he's a very underrated manager in the EPL. So, with Liverpool dealing with that fatigue, with no Salah or Van Dijk for this game as well, and with Southampton, also having that extra time to prepare, all signs point to Saints for me on the handicap line. And also, just like last week against Villa, where I did expect it to be, somewhat close, Liverpool to win by exactly one goal tonight at plus 300 looks like good value as well.
It certainly does, Kev. I always love that when you or Pavlos throw out that prop bet to win by exactly one goal, getting 3-1 on your money. It's not a bad way to go. It's that impressive record they have against the bottom 10. Obviously with that one draw coming back near the beginning of the season, but we'll see. As you said, Klopp is not a dumb manager. The big picture here, obviously, is the Champions League final in less than 2 weeks against Real Madrid, and I'm sure he expects City to get the result at home on the weekend against Aston Villa. So, given I wouldn't put it past them if they get up a goal. The last 30 minutes or so, seeing guys like Mane or Diaz coming out of the lineup for this team, and that's even if they start the game. So we'll see what we get from Liverpool today in this one, guys. Let's go to the second game. This one is Aston Villa and Burnley. Let's look at the numbers on this one. Then we'll go to Nick and Pavlos. Aston Villa, even money plus 100 at home. Dross plus 240. Burnley plus 260 in this one. Why do we have this game on the card? Well, it's not for Aston Villa. They're secure, sitting on 44 points. But Burnley, 2 games left, 34 points, one behind Leeds for safety. This is a game for them where they need some points, Nick. A win here obviously leapfrogs them over Burnley and possibly Everton, and it sends them into the weekend outside the relegation zone. But they're also a team that has lost their last couple of games, failing to pick up points, and some even single points at this stage of the season or this late in the season are important. Give me your thoughts on this one.
When the soccer season was released, a couple months prior to the beginning of last year, this was a game I circled as a big matchup I must watch. Okay, obviously, all kidding aside, the beauty of European soccer is that these relegation battles make for some very awesome drama at the end of the seasons. Unlike, I get in fights, arguments, whatever, with my buddies all the time about, NBA and, any professional North American sport, because they don't do that, obviously. And you see that a lot of times at the end of the season. There's so many meaningless games. But yes, there are still some in these European soccer teams for the teams that are safely right in the middle, but there's a lot more on the line with teams that could drop down to another league. So it does offer a lot of entertainment. This is a big game, Carm, you mentioned, for Burnley here. 1 point behind Leeds, a game in hand, which is obviously very important here with just two games to go. So, you have to quickly look at it. And, whenever I'm on Twitter and I'm rolling through and you see, people talking about games like this and, Burnley, it's a must win. And, you got to bet on them because Aston Villa's got nothing to play for. And yes, that's all true. But if you look at the lines at this time of the year, you don't think the odds makers are adjusting them? There's no way you look at some of these lines if we're 5-6 weeks ago that you would see some of the numbers where we see this time of year. Now, that being said, I actually will probably go with Burnley in this game just because they're getting a half goal head start, and a point to them is a big deal here. So, just them not to lose. If I was going to bet them to win, I would definitely be, if this was a Burnley being favored or something like that, I probably wouldn't take it. But Burnley catching a half goal is definitely a good way to play. Aston Villa, though, is a tough team, and it's not going to be an easy matchup by any means. They came off a 3-1 win over Burnley just 10 days ago because this is a makeup game. So this is twice that they're playing in a short period of time. So it will be tough for Burnley to come in here and get that result. But I think they're going to come in defensive. So I think, like I said, that point's very big. I think defense will be huge for Burnley. I think they're going to slow this game down. They're going to try to eke out, if they try to win, it's going to be 1-0. They're not an offensive team. We all know that. They scored just 32 goals in 36 games this year, second fewest in the league. So they cannot afford to concede many, if any, goals here. Maybe it's a 1-1 type of a result, but I think they're going to try to, play this thing as slow as they possibly can. Maybe sneak out a 1-0 win, which would be very, very big. But honestly, even if they finish 0-0 or a 1-1, they would be very happy as well. So if you're going to play the total, I would ride with the under. And if you're playing the side, I would go with Burnley plus a half a goal, just a lot on the line for them in this game.
All right, Nick Borrman, WagerTalk.com. Nick, I completely agree with you, and yes, this is a makeup game. This one being played this week was supposed to be the round of 18 game that was postponed. So they will have faced each other a couple times in a 10 or 11 day span. Pavlos, you look at this one, and as Nick said, 1 point could be valuable for this Burnley team. As far as goal differential comes in, if they finish level on points with Leeds after Sunday, they're through. They have a much better and superior goal differential. So a point this week puts them level on points against Leeds. Leeds still have to travel on the final match day to Brentford, who have gone unbeaten in the last 4 at home, 3 wins and a draw. So that is not the easiest game for them. And Brentford is going to show up on the final match day in front of their home fans not for Steven Gerrard. But give me your thoughts on this team, on this game.
Yeah. Burnley, as you said, they're minus 18 in the goal differential, and Leeds are minus 28. Minus 38. I'm sorry. It's mind-boggling how bad this Leeds difference has been this season. So Burnley, in the event of a tie against Leeds, are going to have the upper hand, and they've been really good and very defensive. They have this mindset, but the problem is, and I was really torn between the under 2.5 and the over 2.5. This looks like an under based on the DNA of these two teams, especially Burnley, and especially given the fact that a draw point would be really, really good for them at this spot. And Burnley on the last match they have to host Newcastle, so it's a home match. So it's that boost from the home crowd. So a draw here against Aston Villa, I think it would go a long way. The problem is, though, with Burnley, two of their best and their starting centre backs, Ben Mee and James Tarkowski, they're probably going to miss out. From what I hear, they only have about a 25% chance each to participate, which is really, really bad. I think there is pretty much no chance to see both of them in the lineup. Even one of them would be enough, but if both of them are missing, they're going to have a tough time keeping Aston Villa at bay. Aston Villa have been really good offensively lately. They're not giving themselves up to anyone. They score against anyone, so they even scored against Liverpool, against they did have a tough time scoring against Leicester and other teams, but against this Burnley side, without their two starting defenders, I could see Aston Villa getting in the line, getting in the scoreline. So maybe this is an over, but I couldn't agree more with Nick's play on Burnley plus half a goal. Again, because a draw here would allow them to leapfrog Leeds in the standings. And of course, Leeds, as you said, Carmine, they have a tough match at Brentford in the final match day. So it's going to be a tough match for Leeds. So Burnley, they can be good offensively. They're with the addition of Weghorst and Cornet, they've been really, really, really good. At least not really good, but much better and much more effective. But it's their defense that kind of scares me here. But all things considered, I also agree totally with Burnley plus half a goal. I think this is a match where it could easily be a goalless draw. It could be a 2-2 draw. Maybe the outright draw is also something to consider at plus 250, and it keeps dropping. But yeah, I wouldn't go near Aston Villa here. They just don't need the points, while Burnley do. So yeah, Burnley plus half a goal. I couldn't agree more.
All right, Pavlos Laguretos of Sports Memo, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting game to watch. When I mentioned Steven Gerrard, it's going to be Villa's final home game, obviously, of the season. So he's going to want to do something in front of his fans, and he's done the best he could with his team after taking over and making obviously some pickups at the transfer window. They're safe for another year, and we'll see what we get out of Villa moving forward. But yeah, as Nick said, I think Burnley goes looking for at the very worst a draw, get them that point, put them level, but above Leeds heading into the final weekend, and see where they can go from there. All right, guys, the final EPL game we're going to cover on this show before we do the Europa League final is the Everton Crystal Palace game. Let's have a look at the numbers on this one. Everton, even money at home, plus 100, draws plus 240. Crystal Palace, plus 290. Kev, I'm going to make this quick, and then I'm going to go to you on this one. This is just one of those games that, unless you're a fan of the Toffees or you're a Palace fan, you wouldn't be watching this one normally. You might want to watch the Chelsea Leicester City game that's on as well too. You've got Everton sitting 16. They're still battling, obviously, with a couple other teams, Leeds and the aforementioned Burnley that we just discussed, to avoid that relegation spot. But they're in a position now. They're probably in a position now where a win here gets them secure, puts them 5 points up. I think that's probably going to be good enough. But they're going to get a little bit of a game, I think, from Crystal Palace. This is a Crystal Palace team that has drawn, I think, 39% of their away games, 7 of their 18 games thus far. They just seem to pick up points for their away from home. This is one of those ones, I'm going to keep it short and to the point. Palace has beaten them twice this year, 3-1 in league play, 4-0 in the FA Cup. So they could have put a scare into this Everton team here because they have nothing to worry about. They're coming in. They could put a little hurt on this Everton team. I don't think they do at the end of the day, but I'm looking at a draw here. I think Everton, if they come away with the draw, obviously a win is big for them, but I think if they come away with the draw, Kev, that might be good enough for them as well, too, given what the two teams below them need to do as well, too, and goal differential. So I'm going to throw that draw out there. I don't normally do it, but give me plus 240 on the draw, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, Everton should already be safe. I mean, but this is crazy at this stage for Everton. Yet another red card arguably ruins it for them at the weekend. And lands them obviously in hot water ahead of this final week of the season. And you just can't be doing it at this level. At this level of the game, playing with 10 men for most of the game. Happened in the game obviously at the weekend against Brentford, happened against Wolves, happened against Newcastle, happened against West Ham. So at what point do these players start to cop on in the dressing room? They can't be doing this. Shamey Coleman, I'm surprised, good Donegal man needs to start dishing out some slaps in that dressing room in terms of keeping these players in line. Richarlison's on 9 yellows this season. Alan's on 7 yellows, 1 red. Mason Holgate's on 7 yellows, 1 red. Everton lead the league in straight reds this season. They've got double that of Leeds. And Leeds have broken the record for the most number of cards this year. First team to break the century mark. So it's absolutely crazy. But Everton have as many straight reds as Lampard has wins with this team. So something needs to be done pronto in terms of the dressing room. They need to dock wages, give the players 100 push-ups or whatever. I'm not sure what the answer is, but they need to do something because it's costing them points. They're playing well in games, but discipline's a major concern. Saying all that, I still quite like Everton in this game, providing they can hold their temper. Everton, as you said, were smashed to pieces 2 months ago, 4-0 by this same Palace team down in London. But Everton are a much better team at home, this season, unbeaten now in 4 of the last 5 at Goodison. And as you said, a win here means, they can avoid having to travel down to London this weekend looking to get a result against Arsenal. So I usually like to, Nick mentioned this before in the game previous, I like to fade these must-win spots for teams as well when they come up. But in terms of this game, I do see Everton getting the job done here, as Palace actually have a pretty poor record in this spot over seasons past. They've won just 3 games from 12 in their final away games of the season in the Premier League. So, Palace have previous form in this role of, if they don't really need to show up, they just won't in meaningless games. So, Patrick Vieira and the boys might already have the sandals on and the suitcases packed ahead of this one. So, yeah, give me Everton on Thursday. I think it's a decent price. They are a good team. But the discipline definitely concerns me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Obviously the game against Brentford, they go up 1-0 10 minutes in, and then 8 minutes later pick up a straight red, and it sort of set them on their way to defeat there. Obviously, Brentford end up with the 3-2 win there. Even the draw, I think, would have helped them at that point. And it's just one of those ones where I think Crystal Palace come in. They have. Again, they're safe. They have nothing to play for, but they can play the spoiler role. They've been in this situation in the past where, on the final couple match days, they need to secure points. So it must feel good for them to have the shoe on the other foot and put a little hurt on someone else. Their last 6 visits to Everton, they've 3 losses and 3 draws. And I think those 3 draws is what has me leaning towards the draw here, because late in the game, if this game is even heading late into the game, Everton might switch to just trying to secure that point as opposed to pushing the game. Guys, before we head into the Europa League final, which will be the last game we discuss on today's show, and before the best bet segment, it is Tuesday, so obviously it's $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk and Sportsmemo. $2 Tuesdays is where you can get a featured Cappers plays for only $2. Along with that, the play are some great promos. These are plays that normally go for $25 and $35. Over at Wager Talk, it is Steve Merrill. Steve has a 5% MLB play up. And over at Sports Memo, it is the same deal. You can get 3 cappers, each for $2 or all 3 for $5. It is UCapper with a WNBA play, Eric Pauly with an MLB play, and Tapping Goat with an NHL play. You can get those plays for $2 or all 3 guys at Sports Memo for $5. So head over to both Wager Talk and Sports Memo and take advantage of those deals. All right, guys. The first of 3 European Championship finals goes on Wednesday. It's the Europa League final. Let's have a look at the odds on this one. We'll get up on the board in a second there. All right, Eintracht Frankfurt is plus 130. The draw is plus 240, and Rangers, Kev's favorite team, plus 210. On sorry, Kev, I couldn't resist. on this one, listen, it's obviously it is a big final. We're looking forward to this one. This is no one expected these 2 teams in the finals. We thought we'd probably end up seeing a team like Barcelona. We thought we might be to see a team like Red Bull Leipzig, even West Ham. But obviously we saw some surprises along the way, coming mainly from this Eintracht Frankfurt team. Nick, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Give me your thoughts on this.
Well, if you're I guess into odd coincidences or things like that, the last time Seville hosted a European final came in 2003, featured another Scottish team in Celtic who lost to Porto. So take that for what it's worth, but I found that interesting and figured I'd mention it. Rangers, they've already knocked out 2 German sides to get to this point. I think it's going to be tough for them to do it for a 3rd straight time, but beating Dortmund and Leipzig was no joke. I mean, that's very impressive for them to get through on 2 legs. Of course, this is a 1-leg knockout game, so plays differently than those type of games, or ties rather, will, but it is impressive nonetheless. I think, Rangers have a ton of confidence. This is awesome. The fans, I mean, obviously both teams, this is a huge game for, and there's a lot of excitement because neither team really gets to play for this kind of hardware very often. I've been reading a lot about how excited Rangers are for this match in their game, so it'll be interesting to see how both teams come out in those first, 15, 20 minutes, because it's going to be very nervy on either side. But you mentioned how impressive Frankfurt have been. I mean, knocking off tournament favorites Barcelona, as well as then taking out a Premier League team in West Ham in that last round is nothing short of impressive. Considering they finished 11th in the Bundesliga this season with 10 wins from 34 matches, a -4 goal differential, I'm really just scratching my head as how we're even really talking about them in this position. But here we are. I actually do think it's very hard for me to pass up Rangers on this one. I do like that their price right now. What I'm getting at is I think this game's very, very much a coin flip. I think either one could win. Rangers plus 210 to win the game, so that would just be the 90 minutes and any stoppage time is appealing to me. But if you like them just to figure out a way to win, including extra time and penalties, they're plus 110, maybe plus 120 you can find to lift the trophy, which does include extra time and penalties. But there's something about them and their story this year that just has, I don't know if it's feel good, I don't know what it is, but it has me really looking towards them and wanting to play them any way I can. If a much safer way is just taking Rangers plus a quarter of a goal. I mean, if you look at the European game data between both teams, I mean, it's nearly identical from shots allowed, shots on goal allowed. XG numbers are 1.52 expected goals for Rangers and allowing 1.42, and then Frankfurt's 1.56 and allowing 1.51. I mean, everywhere across the board it's identical. So I like the Rangers to get that early head start with plus a quarter of a goal, and then I also will probably sprinkle a little bit on them to lift the cup at plus 110 or plus 120 as well.
All right, Nick Borrman at WagerTalk.com. Pavlos, I look at this game, and Nick makes some good points. The market came down a bit on Rangers from the opening line. It's probably down about 10 to 15 cents. And to lift the trophy is, I'm seeing across a few books at plus 120. It's just, every time I look at this Frankfurt team, they literally, you can go back a month, you can go back 2 months. They literally committed to winning this cup competition and getting into next year's Champions League and sacrificed their league play for it. And here they are. They're in a final in Seville, looking to get the job done. And whether it happens in regulation time or not, I think they get the win here. I think to lift the trophy, they're about minus 143. But I look at that price in 90 minutes in injury time at plus 135, and it just appeals to me. Can you talk me off that?
It's a tough match, especially for Frankfurt. They're missing Hinteregger, which is one of their best players, best defenders in that squad. And here's the thing about Rangers. When Morelos was injured, Morelos is their starting striker, by far the best striker in that squad. Everyone, including me, thought that they're going to have a tough time scoring goals, but something weird happened. They've been scoring a lot of goals lately, firing no cylinders. And there's another interesting stat that the right back, James Tavernier, he's now the leading scorer in the Europa League with 7 goals. And not only that, he scored all 7 goals in the knockout stages. So this whole team has switched something, and now they get goals from the right wing back, which is weird. But still, I mean, I don't trust this Frankfurt defense, even with Hinteregger in it. This Rangers side has shown time and time again, of course, yes, they're much better at home, which is a really tough venue to play at. But on the road, they've been scoring a lot, and the Frankfurt can't really keep clean sheets, even with their good squad. And Frankfurt, they don't have a good roster. I mean, they cleaned house about a couple of years ago with, they had Sebastian Haller, they had Jovic, who went to Real Madrid. They had a really good side, and the only, they sold everyone except Kostic. So he's the last man standing in that squad. And last season he was, he actually had a deal with Lazio to go to Lazio, but that deal fell apart in about August, I believe, late August. So he was really frustrated. He didn't want to play. He missed a couple of matches in the Bundesliga season. But now he should be more than happy that his team actually made it to the Europa League final. Of course, this is a last Hail Mary for Frankfurt, who will not play European soccer next season if they don't win this title. And, they're the team with the second most draws in the Bundesliga. They have 12 draws in 34 matches. So they're really, really hard to beat. And they can play good defense at times. Their offense is lacking, like a good striker, like a Haaland type, or, like a strong, solid striker. So they also get goals from other guys, like their wing backs or their attacking midfielders. So if you guys want to look at some goal scorer props, I would definitely pick James Tavernier here at plus 350. I mean, I said the guy has scored 7 goals and they all came in the knockout stages. So it's a really huge feat, and I think he's going to be testing his foot as well. And another goal scorer you can take is Filip Kostic. That's why I made such a big introduction, because playing in the Europa League final is just a huge way to showcase himself and maybe get a transfer out. So he has a mean left foot. He takes the free kicks. So he's always in there. He's always testing his foot. So I think both getting either of those guys to score at plus 350 is a really good way to go. And also I see cards here. I see cards because Frankfurt also gets a lot of red cards, yellow cards, and this is going to be a passionate match. And Rangers also are not very good. They're lumberjacks as well. They can get easily 3 cards on their own. So I like maybe both teams to score here, but I would go just a bit higher and get Kostic to score at plus 350, Tavernier to score plus 350, and maybe the draw here. Maybe the draw here at plus 240. I think it's a good way to play this, especially, it's a final. We always talk about this stuff. Maybe these teams will cancel each other out. So I like the draws here and those guys to score.
All right, Pavlos Laguretos of Sports Memo with his take on the Europa League final. Kev, I'm going to give you the last word on this one. And, I still have to go back to the fact that you look at Frankfurt, and like I said, they were all in on this tournament. And the route that they took getting here against Betis, against Barcelona, against West Ham, I think was the tougher of the two in my eyes. And in both those ones against La Liga sides, they went to Spain and picked up wins, winning at Betis, winning at Barcelona at Camp Nou, which is not an easy thing to do. And here they are, back in a final, back in Spain. Give me your thoughts.
Let me grab my German flag here, Carmine, because I'll be praying Eintracht Frankfurt win this game. But I actually remember, I think we were talking in the group chat in the round of 32, because I think I was joking with Pavlos about a potential Olympiacos Rangers final. Obviously, we were joking. No one expected that to happen. And I think Pavlos was laughing, going, I'll give you 2 million to 1 odds. And he's a lucky man. Olympiacos is such a bad team. But, this should be a tight game. I agree with both guys. It'll be a tight game because Rangers, they're okay. They're a good team. But they're ranked top 10 in the Europa League this season on overall opponent shots allowed. So they're pretty tight defensively. They haven't allowed 2 goals to an opponent in Europe since all the way back to March against Red Star Belgrade as well. And that was a tie they were already in command. They're up 3-0 from the first leg. So in fairness to Rangers, while I'm not their biggest fan, obviously, they can be compact at the back. So I think Eintracht Frankfurt might well struggle to break them down here. So I do agree with Nick in terms of the side. I think, grab Rangers plus a quarter. Pavlos also mentioned the draw as well. So I agree with both of those. I think if you're taking a side here, it's got to be Rangers plus a quarter. But at least Celtic won the league. That's the main thing. Forget about Europe, All
right. As one of our fearless leaders, Joe Ranieri, would say, if 3 of you guys are on Rangers here, then the consensus is telling me that I'm on the right side with Eintracht Frankfurt. But we'll discuss that on next Tuesday's show, which for you guys out there will be our final show of the year and the Champions League final preview show. We're going to talk props. We're going to talk. Pavlos will have a list of them, I'm sure. We're going to talk side total in the lead up to the game, which is obviously the biggest game in Europe this season, Liverpool and Real Madrid. So you know who my interest will be on, or my cheering interest will be on, while I'm holding 18-1 and 33-1 tickets on Real Madrid for myself and my clients. So that's what I'll be looking for. All right, guys, we're going to get into the best bet segment of the show. We're going to look at some games that are going on very late this week and on the weekend in the final weekend of European football across the top 5 leagues. Nick, I'm going to go to you first. You're taking us to France in a League One game on Saturday. Tell us what you got and what's up at Wager Talk.
Yeah, I'll be quick here with this one. First, League One might have the most interesting or most excitement on the final match day of any of the leagues. I mean, you got 6 teams battling for Champions and Europa spots for next year, and the match Marseille versus Strasbourg features 2 of them. Marseille sit level with Monaco on points. If they can better Monaco's result, who have a tough match of their own, they're going to earn the second Champions League group stage qualification. If not, they either have to qualify for the Champions League during the qualification rounds in the early fall, or they fall down to the Europa League qualification, while Strasbourg fights for either a Europa Conference or Europa League spot. The reverse fixture play to 2-0 Marseille win, making it 5 straight League One meetings that this matchup has stayed under the total. And with so much on the line in this game, I have to imagine defenses are going to feature at this match, and it could take a while to get going as both teams probably start this thing off very cautiously. So under 2.75 goals, Marseille, Strasbourg, France, League One.
All right, Nick Borrman, good luck with that play. Pavlos, I'm going to you. You're taking us to Spain and a La Liga game that goes on Friday. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over 2.75 goals in the Rayo Vallecano versus Levante match. Rayo Vallecano, they saved the season, sitting at the middle of the standings. This is the final match in the La Liga. And Levante, they tried a lot. They played good soccer there at the end of the season. They scored a lot of goals, but sadly, they're going down. But still, this is the final match of the season. They're going to try to prove that they didn't really deserve to be relegated. Of course, Levante have the worst defense in the league with 74 conceded goals, but their offense has been firing no cylinders lately. Of course, they scored 3 goals against Alaves. They scored multiple goals against some really, really good defenses like Real Sociedad. They scored twice against Sevilla, twice against Barcelona. They beat Villarreal by 2-0. So their offense has been really, really good at this end of the season. So I wouldn't be surprised if they scored 3 goals on their own. And Rayo, they a lot of their home matches have been both teams to score lately since they, saved themselves from relegation. So I expect an open match. There's no reason for this match to be a close one. We might see a crazy scoreline here. So I think the over 2.75 goals is the way to go here. Minus 125. I love this spot. And up at my page at SportsMemo, I have a Europa League final pack for just $7. I have a lot of props loaded in there. I have a Copa Libertadores 3-pack going live tonight, and I have a 4-unit MLS contrarian play. It's a best bet that I really love, and I think everybody else is going to be on the opposite direction.
All right, Pavlos, best of luck with that one. Kev, you're taking us to the Premier League on Sunday. Tell us what you got.
Yeah, 5% MLS showstopper player for tomorrow, Carmine, as well. Never lost a 5% MLS play, so don't want to start this week. Touch wood. Hopefully that works out well. And yeah, we're going to the Burnley Newcastle game on Sunday, Carmine. And even outside of the Aston Villa game, which touched on earlier, Burnley are still going to likely need a result in this game, so they're priced up as favourites here. But I like Newcastle here. Look, on the surface, obviously Newcastle have nothing to play for. They're safe in mid-table, but they're playing really well right now. Coming off beating Arsenal last night, dominated that game as well on the XG. Far more chances than Arsenal. And with the takeover that's happened at this club also, Newcastle now backed obviously by the richest consortium in world football, absolutely dwarfs, the other top 10 clubs. None of these players' positions are safe. They're going to have to play till the end of the season, stake their claim for the squad. So they can't down tools here. And I think that's why Newcastle are playing hard in these final few games. So getting them here plus a quarter goal, again, based off that must-win line on Burnley, I think that's value. And yeah, that's the way I'll be looking this weekend. Newcastle plus a quarter goal, best bet.
All right. There's Kevin with his best bet. Good luck on that one, guys. I'm going to stick to the Premier League on Sunday. Pavlos, whatever you do, maybe you can get the Arsenal players a job at that microbrewery, because they're very good at bottling, man. They have bottled their last 2 games to fall out of 4th spot. They are now in 5th. And I'm looking at the Tottenham game, Tottenham and Norwich. Listen, Tottenham are 2 points up heading into the final weekend. A draw is good enough, but Antonio Conte is not sending his team to Norwich, who are relegated, looking for a draw. He's going to want to put up a big number. He's going to want all 3 points and not leave anything up to chance in this one. Goal differential won't matter, but I see them going there. He's done a fabulous job with this Spurs team since taking over and has moved them up, and he's got them into Champions League. It is right there for this team. They're going to go in there, and I think they're going to put up a big number on this Norwich side. So I'm going to take Tottenham. I'm going to lay the 1 3/4 goals here, which is a split line of -1.5, -2, and look for a big Spurs win on the weekend and a Champions League spot next season. So that is my best bet for the show. Guys, listen, thanks for tuning in. Again, next Tuesday, 10 a.m., we are going to do a Champions League preview of the final between Real Madrid and Liverpool. And then we're going to close shop until August again when the new seasons begin. So tune in. Top of the hour, puck time, myself, Andrew McInnes, and Don Buster will discuss NHL playoffs. So tune into that one coming up shortly. For myself, Kevin Dolan, Nick Borrman, and Pavlos Laguretos. I'm Carmine. Thanks for tuning in.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.